really depends upon where you start, Mohit, and people can jump from here to here very quickly depending upon their previous samskaras and their previous sukriti. It also depends upon association of devotees. So with this environmental influence and your own mental influence, you can go. But this is a general progression is this. General progression of yoga is this. You come to jnana that you are not this body. This is a very high level of attainment of realization. This jnana yoga then further matures into what is called Ashtanga yoga. Why? Because what is Ashtanga yoga? Anybody tell me the 8 limbs of yoga? Ashtanga yoga. Ashtanga yoga. Anga means limb, Ashta means 8. 8 limbs of yoga. Yama niyama. Who said yama niyama? The first thing in Ashtanga yoga is yama and niyama. Do's and don'ts. Yes? We also read in Bhakti there are do's and don'ts. What are some of the common do's and don'ts which are common to all yoga? We discussed in the first session. We discussed about chastity, honesty, mercy, non-violence. Yes? And then what are the do's?
Charity.
Yeah, charity. But the main do's, what we talk in yoga, is discipline, meditation, chanting. These are the main do's. So you have do's and don'ts. The third is asanas. Asanas are physical exercises which help us remain healthy and control our health better. What is the fourth one? Pranayama. What is pranayama? Asanas relating to physical body. Pranayama relates to breath control. Breath control. Very, very effective in self-realization, in maintaining good health. What is the fifth one? Pratyahara. Sixth is dharana. Seventh is dhyana. And 8 is samadhi. So this is a process. First, it starts with do's and don'ts, then physical exercises, then breath exercises, then restraint of senses. In 254 to 272, Arjuna asks Krishna, what is the quality of this person who's engaged in Buddhi Yoga? Nishkam Karma Yoga, who offers the fruits of his work to you. How does he walk? How does he sit? How does he talk? Mohit, why don't you read 254 to 272? Most important section of Bhagavad Gita. Gandhi would read this 8 verses every day. If you want to practice Buddhi Yoga, you should read these verses every day, morning and evening. 254 to 72.
121.
And while you're reading these verses, think of Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana and Samadhi.
So is this the ladder from animal, from Kanda? Where is this ladder described?
It is described in the Bhagavad Gita, and what I'm doing is I'm basically unraveling and unpacking it and putting it in front of you. Will you finish Gita? You'll be able to see it. You'll be able to see it. How these verses, see, because in 254 Krishna says, Sthita pragya kya bhasha samadhi stasya keshava. How do I attain samadhi? How do I get to samadhi? Sithadhi kim prabhaseta kim aseta vrajata kim. How does he talk? How does he walk? How does he sit? Sitting means asana, walking means pranayama, so like that. So he's asking. So this is this train, animal life, karma kanda, sakam karma yoga, nishkam karma, jnana, ashtanga, and finally bhakti yoga. Bhakti yoga means pure devotional service. Prabhupada, when he uses the word devotee, he means pure devotee. He means the person who's here. But not every devotee is here. That devotee is in the bhakti train. He's sitting inside the bhakti train. He's doing this, but he may be on any one of this continuum. You follow? He may be in anywhere in this continuum in state of his consciousness. In state of his consciousness. And this train cannot run just by fuel. This train takes some discipline and yoga to run forward.
Backwards.
The train can stop. The train can stop and you will not make much advancement, But your realization, let's say there is an unfavorable circumstance, let's say you have a fall down, or let's say you got off at a platform and you went to sleep there on the platform. You know? So you will not make much advancement. But Krishna says in 240 that in this endeavor there is no loss or diminution. So Alec, there is no backward gear here. Well, no, you're not going back. However, you can become covered over, achhadita. So you will not make progress, or you will make progress very slowly. That can happen. This train can be derailed if you commit lot of offenses to living entities or to God. If you displease Krishna in a major way, the train can be a little derailed. Then you will be lying down on the side, kind of upside down for a little bit until they will put you back on the rail. And then you kind of, does that make sense? You derail a little. If you do some things which are terribly displeasing to Krishna, oh no, we're not going to go there. We're not going to go there. 254 to do, yeah. Let's read this and let's finish the second chapter. Now you will have to read Nishkam Karma on your own. Okay, so 254 to 72, most important verses of Gita.
Arjuna said, "O Krishna, what are the symptoms of one whose consciousness is thus merged in transcendence? How does he speak, and what is his language? How does he sit, and how does he walk?" Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "O Pratap, when a man gives up all the varieties of desire for sense gratification which arise from mental concoction, and when his mind, thus purified, finds satisfaction in self alone, then he is said to be in pure transcendental consciousness. One who is not disturbed in mind even amongst the threefold miseries, or elated when there is happiness, and who is free from attachment, fear and anger, is called a sage of steady mind. In the material world, one who is unaffected by whatever good or evil he may obtain, neither praising it or nor despising it, is firmly fixed in perfect knowledge."
Lot of good and evil situations may come, just remain neutral to it. Don't get too caught up with praising things and despising things, and I don't like this and I like that. This is not a symptom of mental equilibrium. 58.
One who is able to withdraw his senses from sense objects, as the tortoise draws its limbs within the shell, is firmly fixed in perfect consciousness. Though the embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, the taste for sense objects remains. But ceasing such engagements by experiencing a higher taste, he is fixed in consciousness. The senses are so strong and impetuous for Arjuna that they forcibly carry away the mind, even of a man of discrimination who is endeavoring to control them.
Here Krishna in text 61, for the first time he introduces himself as the object of meditation.
One who restrains his senses, keeping them under full control, and fixes his consciousness upon me, is known as a man of steady intelligence. While contemplating the objects of the senses, a person develops attachment for them, and from such attachment lust develops, and from lust anger arises. From anger complete delusion arises, and from delusion bewilderment of memory. When memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost, and when intelligence is lost, one falls down again into material pool. But a person free from all attachment and aversion and able to control his senses through regulative principles of freedom can obtain the complete mercy of the Lord. For one thus satisfied in Krishna consciousness, the threefold miseries of material existence exist no longer. In such satisfied consciousness, one's intelligence is proven well established.
One who is not connected with the Supreme in Krishna consciousness can have neither transcendental intelligence nor a steady mind, without which there is no possibility of peace. And how can there be any happiness without peace?
What does Krishna says about peace and happiness here? How does one get happiness and peace?
If he gets peace, then he gets happiness.
And how does he get peace?
Without being affected
By being
By controlling the
having
senses.
steady mind.
Having us, because mind is the chief sense. By controlling the mind and senses, one gets peace and happiness. If one really wants freedom from anxiety, one has to control one's mind and senses. This senses and mind is what is basically kama, right? Desire, kama. We are talking about nishkama karma yoga. These kama, when one engages in sense gratification, very soon he becomes a slave of that objects of senses. He no longer has any freedom. He becomes a slave, losing all his freedom, and he does not have any peace or happiness. So this is what Krishna is saying, that you have to come to this platform of Nishkam Karma Yoga, then you must control your mind and senses. And this basically, this process of pratyahara literally means to withdraw the senses inward. Pratyahara. Dharana, dhyana and samadhi is simply concentration of mind on one particular object. It's like if you thicken the milk, more, it becomes rabdi. So this is what it is. Pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, samadhi. And Krishna is describing this process of yoga here. Arjuna says, how is one in samadhi acts? He controls his mind and senses, does not. And what does he do with his senses? He engages them upon me. He uses them for my service. By doing so, he becomes free. So we'll just finish this chapter real quick.
As a strong wind sweeps away a board on the river, on the water, even one of the romances on which the mind focuses can carry away a man's intelligence. Therefore, Almighty arm, one whose senses are restrained from their objects, is certainly of steady intelligence, which is night for all beings is the time of awakening for the self-control, and the time of awakening for all beings is night for the introspective stage. A person who is not disturbed by the incessant flow of desires that enter like rivers into the ocean, which is ever being filled but is always still, can alone achieve peace, and not the man who strives to satisfy such desires.
A person who has given up all desires for sense gratification, who lives free from desires.
So this process is called Nishkam Karma Yoga, and it is also known as Buddhi Yoga. Buddhi Yoga is spiritual discrimination, offering the fruits of one's work into Krishna's service. So in second chapter, we learned about Jnana Yoga, we learned about Sakam Karma Yoga, we learned about Nishkam Karma Yoga, also known as Buddhi Yoga, and we learned a little bit about Ashtanga Yoga, and ultimately this process of withdrawing the senses and focusing it on Krishna to attain peace. This is the summary of second chapter. I know it's late, so I know everybody has to go. I'll send you some homework. So Alec Prabhu, what's going on with your homework?
I have it ready. I just
Okay. And Kriti, we're missing your homework for the week, okay? So we need everyone's homework, okay? But good job. Those were Abhisheks and Mohit and Charita and Paran. Good job. So Manish and Mohit,